All right, IB Euro students, tonight we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Balkans and particularly the result of the decline of the Ottoman Empire. You've been reading about the sick man of Europe, and that was the Ottoman Empire. And the decline of the Ottomans caused a number of problems that we'll look at here on this map. Notice this is 1863. This is before Germany or Italy had unified. Italy, you can see unified, but missing the critical part of Rome. And Austria is still an independent empire focused to the north of the Danube and attempting to unify the German-speaking states. And the thought was in 1863 that that was still likely. But if we move forward just briefly, we notice that it changes. Austria is forced into a dual monarchy with Austria-Hungary, and they lost control of any possibility of unifying the German states. That forces Austria-Hungary to, instead of trying to seek influence in the German states, to attempt to push its influence to the south. Because of a number of things that we've talked about, the rise of nationalism that was dangerous, the need to have more markets in which to buy and sell goods from. So we know that countries at this point in history, and Lord Palmerston, a British politician, said that at this point in history, countries were either living or dying, and they were living or dying based upon whether or not they were expanding. So Austria-Hungary, wanting to remain a superpower, saw their potential expansion to the south. That would put them into direct conflict with Russia, but also with a number of different ethnic groups who had never or hadn't been independent for very long. So just watch a map from 1868. Moving forward now, we can see the Ottomans decline dramatically. We begin to see Bosnia appears on the map. Bosnia is a place in which there were a large number of Serbians. There was a large Croatian population. And in Bosnia, the capital of Bosnia is Sarajevo. And we know that the Archduke of Austria-Hungary is assassinated there in 1914. Now, if we keep moving it forward, time-wise, the Ottomans continue to decline, and that culminated, let's just move back a hair, that culminated in their loss in the Balkan Wars. Let me see if I can catch it quick. Yeah, barely got it. All right. So now, after the Ottoman Empire lost both Balkan Wars, the first Balkan War is fought between a coalition of states that included Bulgaria, and the Second Balkan War is a coalition of states really led by Serbia against Bulgaria, who felt like they had been shorted land in the First Balkan War. Not terribly significant, but what we see here is a region that is newly independent, where nationalism was also on the rise, particularly Serbian and Croatian, who at this point see themselves with a common enemy in Austria-Hungary. So they are set on creating a union of Southern Slavic people. That is what Yugoslavia means. And as we move forward, this is right before World War I. Now, the real question about this region is who would assert control? Because when the Ottomans declined, the question was, well, who would replace it? Would we see a strong and independent Serbia? Or would something else happen that we maybe wouldn't foresee? And after World War II, or World War I, excuse me, we see the map change dramatically again. And even moving forward, it remains rather unstable. All the way up to when I was in high school, the Third Balkan War. Third Balkan War happens, and when you saw it all blue prior to that is when it was Yugoslavia, when it was known as Yugoslavia. This would be called Yugoslavia. Now, after those different ethnicities demanded independence, we see that Yugoslavian state split up. And that is what defined my youth, the wars of independence, as Serbian government and Serbians living outside of Serbia wanted to create a greater Serbia. It created this situation where